Hello, Jane Bishop here, your positive interrupter, with a word for your day. Limitations. I'm curious as to how you deal with your limitations. We all have them, whether we acknowledge them or not. Some are obvious, some are not. We are limited sometimes with time. We are limited with our physical abilities. We are limited in other areas. We are human, and that means that we have limitations. Sometimes they're permanent and sometimes they're temporary. I'm reminded of that today because I've had a little skin cancer removed this morning, and so I have some temporary limitations. And often when we have limitations, we like to hide them or cover them up because we don't know how to deal with them, we're ashamed, or we think it's going to bring too much attention. The reasons or excuses go on and on and on. But that is part of who we are. That is part of our story. And as we learn to stand on our story, then part of standing on our story is limitations. So the funny thing is today, with my limitations, my face is still asleep on this side of the face, as is obvious. So when I'm trying to smile, my usual smile, it comes up like, maybe that's like a pirate. Maybe I should get me a little eye patch with a pirate. And the funny thing was, in between the times in the waiting room, which, by the way, they did get the little cancer on the first time, so they didn't have to go back in. I was trying to drink a bottle of water and, lifting up my mask and drinking the water. Well, it kept dribbling down, and I thought, okay, I'm just not getting it right on the mask. Well, then it occurred to me later, it's because half of your face is asleep, and even though it feels fine, the muscle mechanics can't function the same way. So I finally mastered how to have some water out of the bottle without dribbling all over me. But there's limitations. And there are limitations in what I can do for the first 24 hours. And there are things that we'll have to be doing for the follow-up. All that to say, embracing who we are involves embracing our limitations. And yes, this is temporary. It may seem inconsequential to some people, but use it as a representation of things perhaps in your own life that you see as limitations, and you see them as excuses and you want to cover them up. My invitation to you is to stop yourself, pause, and think. That is part of who you are, whether temporary or whether it's for ongoing, for the rest of your life, and some are. And that is not to minimize those limitations that really affect us in different ways. So limitations, yes, they can hinder us, they can stop us, they can sideline us. However, if we can shift our view of our limitations and learn to work within those, like I'm doing today in offering this word for the day, limitations, sans makeup, with a crooked mouth, with this pressure bandage on my face, it's okay. Now, some of you may be thinking, oh, well, Jane, that's just who you are. That's what you can do. It is still my choice. So how we approach limitations are our choice. So here's what I have for your pondering today. Acknowledge a limitation, just one that you have. Then second, consider and evaluate your perspective of that limitation. And then 3, decide how that's impacting your life. Is it hindering you? Is it holding you back? Or have you fully embraced it and it's part of who you are and you continue to move on through life? That's awesome. Limitations, part of life. What we do with them is our choice. So I look forward to the next word of the day I bring you, where the deadening material is out of the face and the facial expression is back to normal. But for now, this is me, and I'm okay with that. And I'm embracing it and not covering it up with my mask, except, of course, when I go in a store. And then, of course, I mask up. Have a great day, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever this finds you. And I would love to help you explore how you can shift your perspective of limitations so that your self-leadership is strengthened. Reach out to me at Jane at takethenextstepcct.com.